They really could have called episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Belair simply The Healing. What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Lawrence Report. Tonight's broadcast discussing episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Belair. And I got a question for y'all. I was thinking about this last night. Do y'all like the way that Belair, Peacock, how they are giving us 3 episodes in 1 week? Me personally, I like it when back in the old day, whenever we was watching Belair, they would give us an episode every single week. It was kind of like we had something to look forward to. But that's just my thoughts. Y'all let me know below. Do y'all like 3 episodes a week, or do you like it where you get 1 episode every single week for that? I think it's eight episodes, right, of Belair. Let's talk about Belair. But before we get started, it'd be greatly appreciate if you guys hit the subscribe button, like, and please do not forget to comment, because my goodness, so much happened on these 3 episodes of Belair. I mean, we got Will and Carlton. We knew that they wasn't going to be BFFs forever. They're beefing, right? We got Aunt Viv, Uncle Phil. Oh my God, the marriage is on the rocks. What is going on? We got LaMarcus and Hillary. You know, they want LaMarcus to get back into the league as soon as possible, but he has to heal. We got Jeffrey meeting the old Jeffrey. Then we got Jeffrey's son caught up in it as well with everything that happened back in London, you know, because Jeffrey's a top boy, Guan Guan. You know, so we got that. So many storylines. Oh, one of my favorites. Lou and his ex-wife and Will, they all have that therapy session. Oh, Carlton, Amina, we can't, Amira, my bad, said Amina. Amira, we cannot trust her. Let's talk about Belair, y'all. But I want to start off, since we have so many episodes to cover, I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to go by each character, right? But I want to start off with Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. Oh, we're going to get to Will. Don't you worry. We'll get to Will and everybody else. But I want to start off with them. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Now, you know, Uncle Phil is still claiming that, yo, the Erica kiss was simply harmless. Like, I didn't want to do it. It was put on me. And, you know, I didn't, like, feel like, Viv, you're still my girl, right? You're still my wife. And we also know that this right here is their anniversary, right? So the marriage is kind of been kind of shaky. And for for Viv, you know, she ends up going out with her friends, right? She just needs a break from everything, right? So her and her girlfriends, they go out there to get turned up. I thought it was good. She needed a way to unwind from all the stress, right? To get back, and Phil wants to talk, but Viv is kind of drunk, so they save for the next day for the conversation. And at the same time, we end up seeing Sharif. You know, Sharif surprises Viv at her place where she works at, the Art Institute, right? And he's like, well, you know, I came here to go to dinner with you, blah, blah, blah. They're having dinner, they're talking. Next thing you know, Uncle Phil pops up. Uncle Phil said, he ain't tripping. He ain't tripping. You know why? Uncle Phil's not worried. He's saying he's a confident man. He tells Viv, you know what? I'll see you back at the house. And they end up going on their dinner date, right? Because they want to get back to themselves, right? And while they're at this dinner, you know, well, actually, I think it was during the dinner or before the dinner, Phil throws a shot at Viv. He says, you know, I'm not worried about Sharif. You know, he's basically harmless to me. Like, I'm confident in my manhood. I'm not worried about that. It's nothing, right? His basic was, he kept saying, like, it's harmless, right? And what he was saying was, you know, and Viv even asked him at dinner, like, you taking a shot at me about Sharif? Low key, he was, right? But the thing about Viv and Phil, they both realized that over the years and over the last several months, with everything that's going on with Carlton, all the other kids, you know, they've been busy themselves with their schedule, right? They have lost themselves. They have lost their connection as a couple, right? And they both end up telling each other how they felt about Sharif and the woman who was kissing Uncle Phil, right? And Viv was like, well, I love the way Sharif, you know, he calls me beautiful. He undresses me with his eyes. It feels like, well, I kind of did like the fantasy with Erica, right? Um, but they both realized that, I think the key thing is they had not been giving each other attention. And that's due to everything that they've been going through with the kids and all that, right? So they end up getting back in order, right? And later that day, well, later that night, there's a big essence reveal for them that their kids did, because the kids can tell whenever something's not right in the household, right? So that's how Phil and Viv, they got back together. Everything seems to be okay. Even um, Phil ends up closing his deal with Erica, despite her saying, "Oh, the clients are going to come to me, whatever," and all that stuff. Feels like, well, I'm going to take that risk. I cannot be business partners with you no more. So shout out to Phil. And I did love the fact that Viv, and there was an artist who was like liking her pictures, and who built this beautiful art exhibit like near where she works at. We found out who the secret admirer was. It was another female artist that basically looked up to Viv, and she was saying how much she appreciated her as a black woman, because we know as black women they have a lot to bear in this society, right? And Phil, for him, he is going to go into development with I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he's basically going to be business partners with this developer, and it's going to cause a lot of drama, unfortunately, because it's basically gentrification almost, pretty much, right? So that's what they're doing outside of their marriage. Now let's talk about Will and his parents. We gotta talk about them. Now Will has been feeling some type of way during these episodes right here. I think he's starting to, for the first time in his life, feel like, I need my parents. I need some closure. I need to know the history about my parents. How was I born? Why did they break up? What was the hardships like for the family back in the day? And he is finally able to go to a therapy session with his family, right? And Marlon Wayans, shout out to Marlon, he's bodying this role as Will's dad right here, Lou, actually. And Lou tells a story about what happened at night when he robbed his man, because his man didn't pay him what he's supposed to be getting paid. His mother was saying that, it was some cold nights. And as a man, you gotta do what you gotta do when it comes to you going out to provide for your family. Will's dad, Lou, said wasn't supposed to go down like that, but ended up being traumatic, jail time and those things. He even talks about how his father, I believe his father ended up dying in prison. So it was basically a lot of family trauma, a lot of family drama as well that they needed to unpack, because Will wanted his mother out there because he needed some reassurance from his family. He needed to find out about the history of his family, right? And he did, and I was happy to see Will and his father playing basketball on the court, after they got through the whole healing process of trying to figure out, how Will was created, and the hardships that he had to face growing up. So I'm glad that Will got that healing that he needed. He got the answers that he needed as well. And speaking of Will, him and Carlton, they're in business with the Black Assets apparel, merchandising, clothing line that they got. It's obvious that Carlton has handling more of the more difficult side of the line, I would say, and Will is, well, I should say Carlton's handling the more money aspect, right? The GPA per capita, stuff like that. And Will's handling the street savvy side of it, right? And they ended up getting these t-shirts made, but they thought it was going to be 100, but I think it was like way more than 100. It was like 6 boxes worth, so it was definitely more than 100. And they're going at each other. We knew that they wasn't going to be on the same path the entire season, right? They're kind of like brothers in a way, fighting, arguing, but then loving each other at the end of the day, right? But they even have a double date that did not go as well as they all planned. But Will and Carlton, they do end up making up. And even, they're trying to sell some of these shirts to this, I forgot the rapper's name, but It was actually Jackie. Jackie came in the clutch because Will ended up well, I wouldn't say fumble. He rescued Jackie because there was a dude who was being very rude to Jackie, making sexual advances at her, and Will had to go cool off. But Jackie came in clutch. She basically made sure that they was introduced to this rapper, and the rapper basically put them on. All of the shirts got sold. Cool. It is what it is, right? Now, as far as Carlton, Carlton is going. Carlton wants the doors. He's trying to get his doors back on, right? But he has to be in good graces, good spirits with his parents, right? But you got Amira there. Now, Amira is kind of what's what I'm looking for. I thought that she would be a safe haven for Carlton, but it looks like she's a wild card. We just can't figure out yet. We just can't figure her out yet. So y'all saw what she did in the car. I can't say it, but y'all know what she did in the car. But yeah, and Carlton, he even has his breakdown at the country club because of alcohol and all those things right there. But Carlton does eventually get in good graces with his parents. He gets his doors back on. He's happy. He's telling, but even with Amira, I keep saying Amira, she comes over because Carlton's like, well, I want you to come over to dinner with my parents. She shows up hours late. I can't trust her for some reason. I don't know what it is. We're going to find out. But Carlton's back in good graces, though. As far as Hillary has been at the hospital with LaMarcus. And LaMarcus, we end up meeting LaMarcus' parents as well, right? And for his dad can only see LaMarcus playing football, period. Despite him being injured, despite them basically adopting the DeMar Hamlin storyline, right? And his dad's like, listen, you're going to get back on this field, but LaMarcus can barely stand up. LaMarcus can barely walk. And Hillary is upset about it because she's like, don't y'all see he needs time to heal? We don't care about what the agent said and all that. He needs time to heal, right? So Hillary's doing her best to help LaMarcus out, and LaMarcus has to be honest with himself as well. But then we get an old friend. By the name of Jazz. Jazz ends up showing up to the hospital, right? Talking about, well, my parents gave you we made you some food. Very brave of Jazz to show up. And speaking of Jazz, he's going through some things still with the store, right? With the music shop, right? Phil ends up offering him a letter, right? And within his letter, it's talking about some advancement for money, right? Because the guy who Phil's kind of going in business with, they want to buy the area. They want to buy the shop where Jazz's music business is at. Jazz ain't feeling it. Phil's trying to take the money, right? Take the money. You can start over. You can rebuild somewhere else. But it's one of these protesters. She lets she lets Jazz know that this used to be a safe haven for the Black Panthers, right? This place right here has so much history, and she basically encouraged Jazz to fight on, and Jazz ends up sending a note, basically back to Phil saying, "Listen, I ain't done fighting yet. I still got some fight left in me." So we're gonna see if Jazz can hold on to his store in that area. Oh, Jeffrey and Frederick, they are caught in some stuff that, oh man, not Frederick, but some stuff that Jeffrey did back in the day. He ended up taking out this top boss, this top kingpin, and now, Jeffrey's been on the run for a long time. He thought that he escaped that, but now his son is kind of like in his lifestyle. He ends up catching his son, basically continue to always sneak out at night, calling a certain number. Turns out his son has a burner phone, and they end up finding out who he's been contacting. He's been contacting his mother, and his mother basically goes off on Jeffrey saying, whenever he was doing all these horrible things back in the day, running with these gangs, it was up to me to take care of Frederick, and at the same time, there is someone lurking in the shadows. We end up meeting OG Jeffrey, and he's like, listen, because of what you've done in the past, we are either going to deal with you You got to come back with us, or your son is going to be a part of the sacrificial lamb that we're going to have to take on. Unfortunately, Jeffrey decides to squash all of it. He ends up getting his money. We saw that fall out of the punching bag. And he tells OG Jeffrey that, listen, take this money to whoever you need to over there in London, wherever. Let them know that this is the final ultimatum. And we saw OG Jeffrey. We know I read that from behind the scenes. He was only there for, I think, one day, whenever he was shooting. But it was good to see him. I'm as a fan of Fresh Prince, it was good to see the OG Jeffrey, even if it was for only one episode, I'm thinking, but it was good to see him. So hopefully Frederick and his daddy can basically be cleared of the crimes that he did back in the day. Frederick won't continue to have to sneak out and do those things. So yeah, that basically wrapped up the Jeffrey and what I believe the Jeffrey hustling in the UK London storyline. As far as Ashley, I didn't know exactly which way they're going to go with her, but I can see, we all can tell that they're going to give her basically a music storyline. So her and her little friend, they got into it because she basically called Ashley out for her parents basically getting a divorce. And Ashley's like, listen, my parents like we get a divorce. Because they supposed to be starting up this whole band and all this stuff. And they had these flyers passed around. And Ashley, ends up meeting this boy. This boy comes to the house. He's like, yo, I thought that y'all had auditions. And they was like, oh, well, auditions got canceled. But Ashley still lets them in. And they're vibing. And Viv sees it. I think Viv was kind of happy about it because she probably don't want her daughter to go the gay route. But Viv was like, well, no boys can be over. But if he is going to be over, make sure you at least have the door open. So like I said, Ashley and this dude was vibing, and they're really bonding. So it looks like Ashley's going to be a little West Coast version of Sweetie. We call her like a little Sweetie Junior, But that's basically Ashley's storyline. I feel like they just don't have enough for her. But except for when the first episode when she was calling everybody out. But that's it for Ashley. I'm hoping that, if she does do this music thing, maybe it'll work out for her, but only time will tell. So that is Belair episodes 4, 5, 6. I hope I didn't miss anything, but if I did, I know y'all let me know in the comments if I missed something. Like I said at the top of the show, I don't like us having 3 episodes back to back because we cannot process it. I don't think there's enough time to process it, but that's just my rant. That's just my thoughts about that. We still enjoying Belair. We still love the show. Just wish that it was just week to week. That's all. So as always, thank you for tuning in to the Lawrence Report.